Okay, so again, I'm going to give my overall thoughts. There's going to be a break, then we're going to have a big spoiler section, and then another break, okay? Alright, so I'll clear up some errors I made in the first part and the second part where I go into the spoiler section, okay? Again, alright. Alright, I finished up Helstrom Season 1. I guess it's Season 1. I don't know if there's going to be a Season 2 right now because Marvel TV is kind of a mess. But still, I guess I'll just call it Season 1 for now. And overall, I think I'm going to give it a B. I'm going to stick with the B ranking. There's some interesting ideas here. It does do a good job of forwarding the plot for the most part. Unfortunately, there's some really grindy parts where it's just like, it's just spinning and spinning and spinning, and we're getting the same thing over and over and over again, and not much advancement. There's like some good nuance with the story as well. I think there's some interesting ideas introduced. Like it does do a good job, I think, of planning for season 2, but I kind of wish maybe it was a little shorter. I think it would make for a breezier watch through. So yeah, that's why I'm giving it a B.
Dad, why would Spider-Man be on a bus?
Because he couldn't get a cab?
No way, there's the Hulk.
Hey, where are you guys going?
They're going to McDonald's, where you can find 8 of the greatest superheroes. Because with every hamburger Happy Meal you buy for $1.99, your kids get a superhero action toy, like the Invisible Woman or the web-whipping Spider-Man. One with each Marvel superhero's Happy Meal you buy.
Look, the Invisible Woman.
Cause you had your break today.
Huh. I didn't see her on the bus.
Okay, again, this is a spoiler section, so yeah, you've kind of been warned. I'll tackle the first thing off the bat, which is some mistakes I made in the previous review. Yeah, I say Damien instead of Daimon. It's D-A-I-M-O-N, and I just kind of flipped that around. I mean, not to mention, again, I grew up a fan of the movie The Omen, so again, the idea of the son of Satan being named Damien just kind of works a little bit better. And I also know I misspelled Helstrom. I know it's one L, not two. Again, Helstrom, just, again, you'd think it would just be two L's. So, yeah, I goofed on that. Anyway, basically, the overarching theme for this season is the Helstrom family kind of reuniting. They've been split apart. Their father was a demon who marked their mother for possession by a demon named Cathara, and the mother's been possessed for over 20 years. He also abducted Anna at the age of, I believe, 8 or 9, tried to raise her to become a killer. She rebelled. Daimon was raised in basically an orphanage, or by the Catholic Church, to try to use it right. However, Hastings, who was the woman who raised Daimon, has a friend named Henry, or Caretaker, who kind of took Anna under his wing after he discovered her. But Caretaker is also, in and of himself, part of a group called the Blood, who are seeking to wage a war against demons and the Helstroms in particular. I think that makes everything, hopefully it all makes sense. And while the specter of the father is definitely beforehand and in the shadows a lot, really the main threat is the demon possessing the mother, Cathara, who is seeking to be reborn and is implementing several machinations. Like early on, we get this kind of weird creature skull. The killer that we talked about in the first episode is a minion of Cathara, who are possibly one of her children. They also make light of that, but she's talking about, because during the time when Cathara is in charge, she talks about losing children, the pain and the suffering, and like, hey, I'm just trying to get back what I rightfully lost. You know, I don't know why you're standing in my way. So they do a kind of good job of character building to try to make Cathara maybe not all bad. In fact, at one point when it looks like Father Helstrom is returning, Cathara even asks the mother Victoria, hey, let's work together to get him out of here because he's worse than me. Like, you think I've been bad, he's worse, so we need to work together. And kind of in front of all that, and added to that, there's this another branch in the form of a Keeper, which is the demon they found in the catacombs with the coffin in the first episode. That is a creature known as a Keeper, and Anna's assistant, Chris Yen, who is a researcher for this kind of antiques front they use for a museum. He winds up kind of getting fascinated with this skull and sort of allows it to bite him, and that in turn winds up turning him into a keeper as well. Though, he has a bit of madness involved. Although, again, this is all turns out to be machinations from Cathara to get herself reborn via Gabriella Rossetti, who is the nun who was working with Daimon early on. And again, through these machinations, she kind of winds up getting possessed by Cathara herself after Anna manages to expel Cathara from her mother. And boy, I'm all over the damn place. It turns out she got marked, and then she places the soul of her son in Daimon, and then they have sex, which allows Gabriella to become pregnant with Cathara to give birth to the fully reborn Cathara, and the blood is involved in all this. And one of the funny things is Gabriella finds out about the blood very early on from Caretaker, and he sort of takes her to this sort of hospital type place where all of these possessed people are in a coma, and it's like when Damien, I keep saying Damien, when Helstrom exorcises them, he doesn't, he gets rid of the demon, he moves it out, but he just sends it back to hell for it to come back at a later point and possess someone new. And the possessed person is rarely ever a person again, like they're just haunted for the rest of their days. We get a brief exposure with this, with a character named Bryce, who's briefly possessed by one of Cathara's minions. And from that, yes, and she sort of learns, like, well, what they've been doing is they've been putting these people in a coma because the people aren't dead, but the demons can't escape either. And she sort of says that's inhumane, but you kind of see her start to slip a little bit as she's put through the emotional ringer. Especially when she discovers she's pregnant, and then over the course of the day winds up giving birth to the reborn Cathara, at which point she renounces her faith and joins up with the blood to take down the Helstroms, and also the baby disappears. So, yeah, there's one more added sting. I probably won't get too far into that. And like I said, those, I think, are all good. That bit of world building is really good. Unfortunately, in between that, there's a lot of repetitiveness. Like, there's a lot of episodes where it's like, Daimon and Anna don't like each other. They refuse to get along. They eventually start to get along and realize they need to work together, and then they stop working together and decide to separate. And then it starts all over again in the next episode. Then in the next episode, it's all that. Then it's in the next episode, it's all that. And then it's, Gabriella trying to see the good in people, and Daimon saying no, and again, kind of a flirtation between the two, even though she's technically, and suppose she's going to become a nun real soon, so not a good idea to be flirting, as we find out. And again, it's like that starts and then stops and then starts and then stops. It's like, guys, you're getting a little too bogged down in the minutia, and this is a problem I've noticed with a lot of the Marvel streaming shows, I guess you could call it. And not so much Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think that did a better job of it, but even the good ones like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, they do get these kind of just grindy midpoints where it's just like, advance the story and stop bogging yourself down with the same thing over and over and over again. Like, advance these characters and move on, and then you can tell a cooler new story from that. And, it's like The Punisher, where, we get episode after episode about government's conspiracies and not enough of the Punisher being the Punisher. Daredevil, we get this repetitive nature of the relationship between him and Foggy, which is great, except again, it's more like Foggy says, I can't trust you, but then at the end still works with Matt. And then at the end he says, I can't trust you again, and then he just still works with Matt. And then he says, I can't trust you again. Like, Iron Fist, Danny Rand reconnects with his friends, but then they're separated. Then he reconnects, then they're separated. Then he reconnects, then they're separated. Again, you're noticing the problem here, as there's a lot of that. And I don't know where the Marvel TV shows are right now, because they're all over the place. Like I said, it's kind of all over the place. There's talks that they're at least going to be reviving Daredevil again pretty soon, because the rights are expiring on that. I don't know so much about Jessica Jones or any of the other ones, but again, it's like maybe we can start to get more of that. Obviously, there's the animated thing that's coming out on I think it's Disney Plus, the What If, or the, is it What If? Or is it the MODOK thing with Patton Oswalt? I can't remember. But still, like, and you know, Jeff Loeb, who was in charge of that, and it turns out was a real scumbag. And yeah, he's not there anymore, and they said they merged it back into the cinematic division, whatever that means, because these things are supposed to be in the MCU, but then they're not, and then they are, and then they're not, and it's all over the damn place. I really wish they would just square it away. As for any of the other Marvel shows like Runaways, I've not watched any of Runaways. I never watched Cloak and Dagger, even though supposedly I don't know if those were any good. There were just kind of a little philosophical problems they had with those. I never quite got into them. So I just never had the urge. Anyway, so I think I kind of explained my problems with it, why the show works, so that's why I kind of gave it the B. Just, it could be a lot better, and there are rooms for improvement. If they do a season 2, I would gladly look forward to it.
Very funny.
Their skills are amazing.
Thanks, Spider-Man.
Their strength's incredible.
Thanks, Hulk.
They're popsicle superhero ice pops from your neighborhood ice cream truck. And for more super stuff, there's new popsicle firecracker superheroes. Super flavors, super colors, super cool. Popsicle superheroes.
Now that's cool.
Okay, so this should hopefully be going up on Thursday. After that, it's going to be a movie review. The next video will be a movie review for Over the Moon, an animated movie on Netflix. So a nice little break from the horror stuff we've been covering the last couple of weeks, I guess. Don't get me wrong, I like horror, but yeah, after binge watching 2 horror shows, I need a bit of a respite. Just a little bit of one. And then the first episode of Mandalorian Season 2. I will do the rest of Mandalorian Season 2, but right now that's probably going to be in November, because it's 10 episodes and they're doing an episode a week. They don't put all the episodes out at once on Disney Plus. I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing. Like, I get the binge watchers like to watch everything at once, but the problem is when you watch everything at once, you kind of don't go back to it for a year, and so it just kind of sits there, and those shows don't always find new adapters right away sometimes. So yeah, I can understand the idea of doing the staggered release as well. And then after that, after the Over the Moon review, the next video after that will be the Hell in a Cell recap and review. And then, like I said, then Mandalorian, and then the random trade review on Thor. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.